Hey, my name is Jay Evans, and you are listening to the Jay Evans Thoughtcast. Seeking to encourage, spark conversation, and make you laugh all in one episode. Today, I am starting my podcast talking about starting. Let me preface this by saying I am great at starting new ideas. There's some people that can't start ideas. I can start ideas, but I'm not the best at following through with them. Let me give you some examples of things that I have started before and not followed through with. I bought a kayak a few years ago. Right as I got married, my father-in-law got into kayaking, and I thought, man, that looks really fun. So I sold, at the time, my Wii U and bought a kayak, and I used it one time. Realized really quickly that, sitting in this big piece of plastic with a paddle going through the water literally brings me no happiness whatsoever. Another thing I started that was probably equally as expensive as the kayak was hydroponics. Hydroponics is growing plants in water, not soil. So you take these plants, you put them in these filtered cups, you put some clay pebbles in, let the roots sit in the water, and you watch the plants go. I probably did 2 weeks of research, spent way too much money, and as soon as the plants died, I'm talking as soon as the plants died, I lost interest. Another dumb thing that I started and didn't follow through with, shows my lack of self-awareness, was blogging. If you've ever gotten to know me, I hate writing. I don't like writing. Anytime at work that they ask me to write an article for the newsletter, I'm like, I just hate writing so much. But, I do it because it's work. But I started a blog only because I thought this might be an avenue where I can make money. We live in a day and age where, people make livings with blogs. My favorite blogger is Tim Challies. He does book reviews. He writes encouraging. He writes on theology, current events, and that's what he does for a living. And it's, there's vloggers out there. You put in the hard work. You use this camera. People are playing video games and making a living. I'm not demeaning any of that, but what I'm saying is there's so many things that you can take and make money with them that I feel like we have forgotten how to have fun. When is the last time you did something consistently just for fun? Like with video games. Like, I love video games. I love video games. But there's this temptation. Oh, I could be a streamer and I could put in the work and then I could make it for a living. You're not doing it for fun anymore. You could really like writing and you could start a blog and, it gets to be about the money. I don't want to call it a photography business, but I've done photography. I've done some big shoots. I've done some big video projects. And this past November, I just got burned out. I was so busy. Me and the turnaround guys were churning out some really high quality music videos at a scale that I had never done before. And the projects kept coming. The photography bookings kept coming. And the video bookings kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And I stopped and I was like, holy crap. This isn't fun anymore. Why is this not fun anymore? I first picked up a camera because it was fun. I love taking picture and video and conveying a message with this medium, and it's not fun anymore. Why is this not fun anymore? Oh, because I'm just doing it for money. Well, I'm like, do I really need the money? And it's like, it's nice, but I've got a job. I don't really need it. And that's not diminishing, If you see it and you're like, hey, I could do a living. But for me, I had forgotten why I was doing it. Before you start a goal, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Are you doing this because you want to impress somebody? Are you doing this because you want to feel important? Are you doing that because you want people to respect and admire you? Let me level with you? That's a terrible reason to start something. That's something you need to handle before you do this. And so maybe you process through that. And you say, you know what? Maybe I do want to do this so that people will like me and admire me. Get rid of it. Get rid of that baggage and then come back and say, I'm going to do this for fun. This podcast right now, I'm recording it sitting at my kitchen table with an iPhone 8 with a gaming headset plugged into my phone because I said, you know what? I am so tired of doing stuff, feeling the need to succeed. I'm just going to do something for fun. I don't care if one person listens to the podcast. I don't care if when I share it, nobody likes it, nobody messages me. I'm going to do it for fun, and I'm going to keep doing it because I love public speaking. I love conversations with people. I love debates. I love thinking about subjects that I feel like nobody is thinking about. But I just want to have fun. I want to do something that brings me happiness. So before you start a new goal, really ask yourself why you're doing it. The second thing is tell 2 people. I am prone to post about social media anytime I start anything new. This is actually the second time I've gotten burned out with photography. The second time. I have shut down my photography page before, gotten burned out. It's not shut down this time. I'm really just taking a break. I do have some bookings come up. But I made sure that those are what I want to do for fun. I recently had some people contact me and say, hey, we heard that you video weddings. Do you still do that? I said no. Because it's not what I'm into. Tell 2 people what you're doing. Maybe your mom, maybe your significant other, your dad, a close friend. But here's what I want to challenge you to do. Don't post about it on social media. Because then you kind of have this crappy accountability. You're like, oh, I already posted about it, so I got to follow through. Then I have to do it. And if you feel like you have to do it, just don't. It's going to show that you don't want to do it. Tell 2 people and say, here's a new idea I have, and maybe ask for their advice. There's been things before that I've wanted to do, and my wife has just straight up said, hey, I don't think that's a great idea. You've done this before. You've done that before. My wife was actually really encouraging about this podcast. And my wife, we have open honesty and open communications in our house. If I have an idea and she thinks it's not a good idea, like my wife is going to tell me. So she was encouraging this to me, and that made me even more glad that I talked to her. I talked with my friend Quinn about it, and my Quinn said, Jay, you're one of my favorite people to follow on social media. Just talk about what you're talking about. And that was an encouragement to me. I was asking some questions about it, but not really saying, hey, here's what I'm going to do until I had really processed through it, until I really asked myself why I'm doing it, to where I felt like, I'm okay doing this. Maybe you just need to say, hey, if this isn't an immediate success, if this isn't successful after a year, do I still want to do that? Right now, Skillet is really popular in Christian music, and I wonder how many people know about the decade plus of work that Skillet put in before they started getting plays on the radio. I wonder if people know about that. Because we see these overnight successes on the internet, but we don't see the hard work that went into it. Oh, we look at Ninja and say, oh, he's making millions playing online, but they weren't there when he was streaming for 8 years. They weren't there when he was playing Halo championships when he was like 20 years old. Don't post about it on social media. The third thing is probably my favorite thing. Being a 5 on the Enneagram, I am a lifelong learner, or as I feel more appropriately titled, I am addicted to learning. So I love research. Anytime I want to start something new, when I got into hydroponics, dude, I geeked out. I was joining Facebook groups. I was going to websites looking into hydroponics because it's like, I want to know what I'm doing upside and down. But a lot of times that can just create fear. With the podcast, I would typically be prone to go buy a new microphone, buy an interface, buy a USB microphone, the pop filter, the stand, get the whole setup going. Just like with hydroponics, just be like, you know what, this isn't working out for me. So when I started this, my wife would ask me questions about it, and I'm like, I haven't processed through it yet. I'm just going to do it. And here's the pressure with seeing these people's overnight successes is we think that we have to be a success overnight. Forgetting that, hey, maybe I have to put in 5 years of work. Maybe I have to put in 5 years of work to where this can finally get to where I want it to be. You got to ask yourself, hey, am I okay with that? Am I okay with 5 years of work going into this? Because if you're not, then you're probably not that passionate about it. One of the most life-changing events of my life kind of happened by accident. I used to be a youth pastor, and some of my students said, hey, Jay, we want to go see Tim Tebow speaking at the Fort Wayne Coliseum. And it was a free event, and these were some of my favorite guys in the youth group, so I wanted to go and spend time with them and go see Tim Tebow. And so we do that, and Tim Tebow, he said this. He said his dad would ask him, is this what you're passionate about? He said, here's what passion is. Passion is getting sacked by a 300-pound linebacker and getting up again. That has stuck with me more than probably any other quote I've ever heard in my life. Passion is getting up again after you've been sacked by a 300-pound linebacker. Are you willing to get up and keep working when everything just goes to crap? When you fail, are you ready to get back up and work again? And if you're going to put in 5 years of work, if you're passionate about this and you're going to keep getting up, then don't you think you should start soon? Stop doing research. Honestly. Like, you have my permission. Stop doing research. Stop posting about it on social media. Stop saying you're going to do it. Just do it. Have fun with it. You know, learning and making mistakes is fun. I think mistakes are some of the best ways to learn, you know, within the proper context. Just go for it. Whatever you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want to get into shape? Stop researching diets. Get off Pinterest. Quit looking at workout plans. Just go to the gym. Just go for the gym. Go walk a mile. Do you want to be a video game streamer? Okay? Go buy a capture card. Plug it into your laptop. Quit making excuses and do it. Put in the work. Make the time for it. Ooh, there's one. Make the time for it. I'm not even touching that one. What do you want to do? Do you want to be a blogger? Start writing. Stop researching publishing techniques or researching other successful bloggers. Just start writing. Do you want to be a preacher? Then go in your church and say, hey, I want to be a preacher. Tell your pastor, hey, I want to be a preacher. I want to speak publicly. Just go for it. Who's stopping you? Learn. Start. Do it. Know that I'm here. That the podcast, one of our goals is to encourage. Send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, comment below what you want to start. Let's go through it together. Start it. Let's go.